Yo, what it do, guys, and welcome back to another video. Now, Warframe 1999 came out in December 2024, and during it we did go ahead and upload, put on screen here, an Excalibur Alpha 1999 timeline. We did go ahead and upload a Chromatic Blade build, and we also uploaded a Surgeon Dash /Dash build. So I gave a 2-in-1 death by 1,000 cuts type build, which is all about criticals, survivability, so forth, whatever. Now, fast forward a little bit, we're now in March 2025, and we just got the Tech Rock Encore update, which is like the post update after 1999, as you could imagine. Just followed it. With it, we basically got some new things that's basically going to be happening here. So the two new things that's going on is all Warframes that have exalted weapons now also have Arcanes. Now, this is a very important change because this is going to change up and shake up a lot of builds. You will see a lot of builds being released right now by a lot of different content creators, because these Arcanes are really enhancing these builds now. Also, some of them, they're creating completely new builds because of it. Number two, what he also got was on his Exalted Blade, he can now also do a heavy attack, like a good, I don't know, 80 to 90 degree angle in front of him, and a giant wave will also come out, and it's, boy, it's strong. It's very, very strong. So those are two things to consider. Furthermore, we are going to be using an Augment for this build. We're going to be using the Chromatic Blade Augment as well. But besides from that, let's go ahead and jump straight into the build, all right? So we'll go ahead and kick things off with the left-hand side, just up here. We want to go and talk about what kind of stats that you guys are aiming for. The main thing to go ahead and aim for, so please listen closely, is you're basically looking to go ahead and get strength. Strength is like not only the main thing, but really the only thing besides from strength is sort out your energy and then sort out your survival. So in terms of like order, it's strength, energy, survival. Just try and sort those out. All right, if you can sort those out, you're done. That's it. So with that means that this build you see here, you don't have to copy identically. There's a lot of wiggle room for you to play around. You don't need the Auger Secret, you don't need the Rolling Gut, you don't need the Brief Respite. You know, you get the idea. You can pick and change whatever you want to, but the main thing in that order is just get yourself quite a fair bit of strength. Please go ahead and make sure that your energy is covered in whatever way you can cover it, so you don't want to drop your offensive weapon, and then make sure you can survive. Okay, so how I've done it, and I'll just teach you what I did. I use the Blind Rage mod because it gives me the most amount of strength, but it hurts my efficiency. I'm okay for it to hurt my efficiency so long as my KPM is nice and high. And with this build, boy, is my KPM nice and high. We're going to be killing lots of enemies. As we're killing lots of enemies, they're going to have more and more of a chance to go and drop things like health orbs. If they drop health orbs, Equilibrium gives me that extra 110% chance to also go and get a little bit of energy, even just from a health orb as well, and vice versa. So this is also going to be nice to go and help my sustainability, even if I'm just collecting health orbs to go and give me energy back. Now, I want to go and store all of that in flow, because keep in mind, this is a channeled drained ability. So that basically means storing energy, as much energy as you possibly can, is a good thing. So if you don't have prime flow, the next closest to prime flow is actually Archon flow, because at the very top of Archon flow, it has 185% energy max. So does this, okay? This is the next closest thing. Now, everything else underneath here, you don't have to use, but if you're like, oh God, I don't own a prime flow yet, you can go ahead and get an Archon flow for free by doing Col 175 missions. If you don't know what those are, just keep playing the game until you go and do Veil Breaker, all right? And then you can go and slot that in there if you want to, until you get a prime flow, all right? No one's gonna judge you otherwise, but yeah, you won't use any of that bottom stuff. Anyways, so now that I got that, and that, what's going to happen here is that this is going to synergize really nicely, because it's going to lower my efficiency. And for my survival, I'm going to be taking Brief Respite, which basically just means whenever I go ahead and use an ability, I'm going to go and convert all of the energy that I use on that ability and more, 50% more, so it's 150%. I'm going to use all of the energy I've spent on that ability, and it's going to go into my shields. So ideally, if a ability costs me 100, right, versus an ability that costs me 10, what's going to give me more shields? Well, the ability that costs me 100. So if I actually hurt efficiency, all my abilities in terms of casting, if you looked at that one there, for example, 116, it actually gives me way more shields back in one cast, which is fantastic. Now, the reason why I go ahead and run this as my survivability is because I'm going to be running Molt. Now, the good thing about this particular setup is you don't really need, listen to me when I say this, you don't need any subsumes. You don't, okay? So if you just want to go and run a raw Excalibur build with what I'm doing right now, you can do. But here's the thing, Molt works really, really well for what I'm doing. Number one, yes, it can help my shield gating, as I explained, with brief respite, right? But number two, Molt also gives me movement speeds. A lot of Excalibur, his feet are going to be connected with the floor as he's running towards enemies, slashing and dashing, right? So keep that in mind. This is going to help that. It's not just going to help that, because this is also going to help this as well, and there's going to be a third thing as well we'll get to. So prime sure-footed, it basically means as I'm on the ground and someone tries to ground slam like an Eximus unit, I'm not going to be knocked back and then vulnerable and susceptible to openings. So that's going to synergize really well. This is going to synergize really well. And then what you can go and do is you can run the Okina Incarnon, and you can go and use this for movement speeds. This is also going to work really well. So now your Volt, you can see where I was going with this. You can see what inspired it. Oh no, I've exposed myself. You can see that now Excalibur can become a lot faster whilst he's just kind of running, slashing people down. And I should go and say, yes, it's inspired from the Volt melee influence build where he's really, really quick. If you've not seen that, I've also got a video for that as well, where you can go and see what's going on there. So again, as for the last bit of survival, I've got rolling guards. It's an optional mod. You don't have to go and take it by all means. I like it. It fits what I'm doing, so I'm going to chuck it in. So again, if you want to change your survivability, feel free to go and do so. This is strength. This is also strength. This also helps 40%. This is 150%. This also adds that, so it's 190%. So I'm going to be getting a lot more, but this is also strength. And then precision intensify is also going to go over towards this Exalted Blade. If you look all the way at the bottom there, Chromatic Blade gives me a status chance of 300 base, but it scales with strength, which means it's 939% status chance. But I haven't even finished that yet, because we got more strength to add to the build. Just you wait. We're going to outsource it in different areas though. Now the other things I can go in and do, like I said, I just want to go and make sure my drain is okay. So narrow-minded actually doesn't hurt me here, because like I said, I've subsumed off my second ability. I don't really need it whatsoever. I'll show you why in a second. And I don't really need slash dash to go ahead and get around. I've got no problem with that. Now radial javelin is another ability that does scale with range pretty well, but again, I don't really need it. But the reason why I left it open is because I wanted to go and show you guys that this augment here called Furious Javelin is multiplicative damage, which basically just means if you want even more damage, you can go ahead and put this in and then press your third ability and you get even more damage. I'm not going to lie to you, you don't need more damage. I promise you, you do not. There's a lot of damage happening here, okay? So, my goodness. Right, so let's go ahead and talk about the Chromatic Blades over here then. So it does go and say Excalibur's Exalted Blades damage type changes depending on Excalibur's emissive color, right? Now in my previous video, we went for red down here because red was for heat. However, we're going to go for blue now because blue is for electric. And we're going to be going for a melee influence build, so blue is just naturally going to work better for us, okay? It's going to help our weighting on the weapon, which is just good. Besides from that, let's go ahead and talk about the Arcanes. And I don't think I missed anything there, but let's go and talk about the Arcanes. We got Arcane Fury. This basically just adds extra damage to the build. I don't really need many other things, but if you do want anything else like survivability, like Arcane Aegis, or you want to go and put things like Reaper in here, you can do, all right? There are other options for you to go and put other Arcanes inside this slot. But for the most part, Arcane Strike is near enough like best in slot here. I absolutely want this. It's going to help the build significantly. It's going to be my only way of actually applying attack damage to, or sorry, attack speed to my melee weapon. So speaking of melee weapons, hopefully you guys understand what I'm taking there. There's a lot of flexibility, strength, efficiency, survival. You got it, right? Now, down here, we got the Excalibur Umbra Blade. Let's go ahead and click on that. Overall recap of what you need to go know here. It is a melee influence build. What does that mean? For anybody who doesn't know melee influence, let me give you the fastest rundown that I possibly can. This arcane over here basically states that whenever melee procs electric status, it then has a 20% chance for elemental melee status effects to apply to nearby enemies within 20 meters for 18 seconds. Okay? This basically just means whatever elements of this weapon itself is basically doing, in this case I've only got two, but whatever elements this weapon is basically doing, I can then end up proccing those elements onto nearby enemies, which is fantastic. That is exactly what I want to be doing. So the way that this basically works is, again, if this is electric, let's go and look at status chance. Number one, you're going to want a lot of status chance. As much. Don't think that this thing is too much. There isn't. Just keep pumping it up if you want to, all right? If anybody who doesn't know how status chance works, if you have 100%, if you have 50% status chance, there's a 50% chance that when I hit an enemy, a element will proc, right? So different elements have different procs. If I have 100% status chance, there's a guaranteed proc on every single hit that I'm doing. If I have 150% status chance, there is a guaranteed 1 proc with a 50% chance of 2 procs. See where I'm going? Now, if you want to know which one is actually procking, you basically hover over status as a stat here, and you can see right now there is a higher probability of electric procking over gas. So when I do go and hit the enemy, there's a much higher chance that electric will proc, which is good, because when electric does, and when it does go and proc, then there's a 20% chance that each and every electric proc that I'm then trying to hit on, that I'm then trying to proc this. So ideally, we want to keep electric higher than any other element, and we want to keep our status nice and high to also help this. There's like a triple probability thing that's all procking. It's all a can of worms, but hopefully you understand that. From there onwards, I do have condition overload on my builds, but you'll notice that condition overload only gives you 80%, and if I look at prime pressure point, it's 165%, and I've only got 2 elements, which basically just only means there's not an awful lot crossing over. But keep in mind, I can outsource a lot of different things, and I'm normally playing with different people as well. Elements nowadays are way easier to proc. I'd rather have this on than this on, and even if I didn't apply this very well, watch the damage. It's insane. So this is just going to allow longevity for scaling, whereas this is just going to be flat. Okay, from there onwards, this is going to work as a Rhino Raw, if you will. Essentially, it's going to allow double dipping. It's going to go ahead and be multiplicative damage towards the build, but furthermore, whenever a electric proc is applying, or any kind of dot is applying, like gas or anything else like that, you can kind of read it here. Basically, any of these that are applying, so slash heat, electric, toxin blast, gas, whatever they're applying, they're basically applying again. So that's basically what's happening there. So electric and gas are both dots right now. Now, speaking of increasing that damage, melee galvanized elementalist increases damage of elements status procs. So if you don't know what that is, bleeds, right? So take slash, I hit an enemy, slash ticks, they slash procs, they start bleeding. Those bleed ticks that you see every second for 6 intervals, yeah, those can be increased if you run this mod. That's the same with electric, and that's the same with gas. Get the idea? So that's what's going to happen there. Now, on top of this, these two are 60-60 mods, which gives me lots of status. This is a 60-60 mod, also gives me a lot of status. This is also going to help my weighting as well. So these two in combination with one another with the emissive as well is also just going to be really nice. And then I've also got Weeping Wounds, which is 40% status chance per combo multiplier. The only thing I don't really vouch for this for is that you don't really get combo off of it. It's just that sometimes I do get a little too aggressive, and I'm like, there's not really a billion other things going to put in here unless you want it to go and put magnetic. I can actually go and put that on the fly if I want to. That might just be a little bit better. Let's just go and do that. I'll amend it live. I've got no problem amending it live. I'm not going to go and restart everything, but let's go and do that. The only thing is I might go and hurt the weighting probability of electric just a little bit more, but not enough for me to go ahead and be too overwhelmed by it. So that's also fine. So why not? And I get a little bit of extra attack speeds. That can also go ahead and just work pretty well in that build on top of it. So that's what's going on with melee influence. All right, now if I was to go ahead, the Archon shards down here, I just want to go ahead and clarify that these Archon shards are actually for my other builds. So although this is an updated video, I wouldn't run these ones. I would personally go ahead and run things like, I'll just put them on screen. Crimson's for ability strength is like the main one that I would go to, and I'm not gonna lie to you, that's probably like the main ones that I would go to. Besides from that, anything else that can help energy is also not bad. So things like energy, maximum energy field on spawn, a very good shard to go ahead and apply towards your build. So you can just go and pop whatever abilities you need to right off the beginning, get running, get killing, and you don't need to go and collect energy until later. So these 4 here are all melee critical damage, but keep in mind that's for my other build. Again, unfortunately, I can't untie these, and I don't want to untie them because I like my other build hitting really big numbers. All right, it was like 500 mils that my surgeon can go ahead and hit. Why am I different now? Anyways, so hopefully I've covered all of that right now. Let's go ahead and show you the gimmick, and then we'll go ahead and show you the rest of it. So this is what it looks like. I'm gonna go and pull this out. I'm gonna do 1 slash. It didn't proc, but I'm gonna do another slash. See that proc there? That was 2 slashes. Do you see what I'm talking about? It's kind of gross, basically. It's kind of gross. It's gonna allow you to like really just absolutely destroy them from a distance, like so, and it looks like that. Now, if you did go ahead and have the attack wave, it would look like, it would look like this. So the bigger attack wave there does go ahead and come out. That's the heavy attack wave that I was talking about earlier. So you can also go ahead and see that. But yes, it's a very simplistic gimmick. Now, what I can also go ahead and do is, and I'm going to show you here, if I go ahead and use the Grimoire, and if I go ahead and alt fire that, I'm going to look up here. Now it says 60%, which is great. I want that. I'll show you what this looks like in the book in a minute. I'm going to go ahead and sling strength into the grounds. I'm going to go ahead and pull this out. And if I go ahead and look up this, I'm currently 1,239% status chance. So it's over 1,000% status chance right now. As you could imagine, that's only but going to help my build even better. So I shoot, hit once, different elements. I'm going to hit twice. Okay, I was hoping I can get a proc without, no, don't do that. Okay, I was hoping I can go and get a proc without it being like overkill. If I just wait for a second, I should be able to show you here on this one. There you go. See all those different elements that are proc there on that enemy, as that has now gone across and hit all of the other enemies as well. All right, so it's a very heavy AoE clear, which is exactly what Excalibur was kind of missing when he ran something like this. It's going to be very hard for him to, or very hard for you to use a critical one where it's more single target focus, although it can kill a lot of ads, versus this one. Ads and enemies are going to die very, very quickly. Now, the other things that I do go and use, like I said, I do go and use the Echina. This is one extra thing that I go and like to pair this with Saren's Molt. This gives me extra movement speeds. I also go and use the Grimoire. Now, since this ability is what we call a snapshot, or like snapshot strength, basically ability. Basically, once I press this ability, however much strength I had before I pressed it, even if those buffs time out, stay in the weapon so long as I don't holster the weapon again. So we use the Grimoire right now. And with the Grimoire, we use this thing called Foam Invocation. This basically just means that if I go and hit multiple enemies up to 15 times, I will go and get 60% ability strength. So that's 60% ability strength in there, all right? Now I can get an extra 40% ability strength if I use Madarai with Sling Strength. That's it. So 60 and 40, that's an extra 100% ability strength that I've now got going on, which all adds towards the Exalted Blades, allowing for an even bigger and more threatening blades. So your goal is to simply just get into a mission, go ahead, shoot this out. Whilst that's shooting out, wait till you see 60%, that's proc, dash into the grounds, go straight into this, and then just hit. And then you just gotta hope that it procs. But believe me, once it does proc, just go to town on everything. All right, I think I've covered it all. I believe that I have. So let's go ahead and get some gameplay up on the screen here, and we're just going to keep this simple. It's not going to be like a very in-depth gameplay because there's nothing else to really go and see here. You are just going to watch enemies dissipate in front of your face, right? So as you can go and see, just keep your fourth ability out. Try and get all your like snapshot strengths up. So try and get your Grimoires. If you have a Grimoire, don't worry if you don't. It's okay. There's a lot of damage that this build is doing. Again, this doesn't have things like Rhino's Roar. It doesn't have things like Nourish. You don't have to use those things. If anything, I would argue taking a subsume for survivability is probably the better thing to go ahead and apply in a build like this, because that's where Excalibur is going to have probably his biggest trouble, is survivability. But yeah, basically just swing away and everything will go and delete. There's, honest to God, there's not much else to it, guys. It is a very, very strong build right now. It's a lot of fun to go and play. And I would argue it's, for all of the years that I've been playing, so just slightly over 8 years now, this is the best I've ever felt when I've played Excalibur, and the most fun I've ever had when playing Excalibur. And it's all because of melee influence, and all because DE said, hey, go have some fun. All right, can't really complain about that. Anyways, I'm gonna bring you guys back here. We're gonna try and keep the video a little bit short, a little bit sweeter. Hopefully I didn't ramble too much. Just a lot of things to kind of go over. But yeah, basically, although there's a lot of things to go over, it's quite simplistic, right? You get the idea. It's melee influence with Exalted Blades. Honest to God, I would argue if there was anybody who did need it, it was him. So I'm really glad that it kind of fit with him. But all of the other Warframes also got it as well. So have some fun. There's going to be a lot of different builds. If you see some more builds with melee influence coming up over the next few days and whatnot, it is what it is. We're in a melee influence meta now. All right, that's just how it goes. Anyways, I want to thank you guys so much for watching today's video. I really do hope that you understood what was going on there and how to apply all of this to your gameplay to give yourself a really good, strong Excalibur that is going to absolutely dominate Steel Path. But don't expect to like level cap with it, not with my build and the way that it's set up. All right. But yeah, no, thank you guys so much for being here. If you did enjoy the video, like it. If you're new to the channel, subscribe, and as always, if you did, if you can go and share with a friend, please go and do so. I'm rambling, it's late for me. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care, guys.